I test drove this vehicle, this had this features. When I bought a vehicle, it doesn't have that features. My simple take was what Apple has done for the mobile industry in India, maybe Tesla will do it for India.
How you think engagement with the government works? They give so much incentive for EV, but this is a poor man bike.
As per me, there are a lot of electric vehicles coming by this year end. Most of them I am expecting is 20 lakh plus. Very less you'll see 15 lakh minus because Tata is the leader there. So if you remember when Kia came up with Seltos with such heavy features.
Okay.
So that was the first product in India which came with feature-rich car.
Welcome to FinPulse, our new webinar series focused on technical and broader aspect of finance. At Yes Securities, our mission is to make finance empowering and accessible to all. Today we have Mr. Vinkesh Gulati, Chairman, Academy and Research, Federation of Automobile and Dealership Association. We popularly call it as FADA.
As FADA.
FADA. We track numbers published by FADA every month. On 7th to 8th of the month, we publish sales at the retail level. So for anyone who tracks automobile sector, one thing is the factory output data which comes on the 1st of the month, and then there's the customer level data which we get from this association. So this is very helpful in tracking how much can be the increase in inventory or decrease in inventory compared to what companies are publishing. Mr. Gulati is a seasoned business strategist and automobile enthusiast. He holds leadership position underscoring the wide range expertise and influence in the automobile sector. He has a background in law and with his MBA has made a significant impact in both automobile and education sector. Mr. Gulati has been associated with FADA for more than 14 years. Today we will be focusing more on how the volume side is panning out pan-India. And also we have thought about dissecting this sector within two-wheeler, four-wheeler and commercial vehicles. So we'll start with your initial brief on how you overview the sector and volume pan out in India, and then we will cover two-wheeler and four-wheeler and segment wise. Over to you, sir.
Thanks for having me today. Let me start first telling you why FADA became too important to platforms like this and people like you. So as dealers, we were always bothered that our ease of doing business with government and the manufacturers should be improved, and that is what FADA's goal was. But if I don't know if you remember, that was a festive 2019 when manufacturers were giving a positive image in the market that the market is bullish and the retail will be gung-ho and all that, whereas on the ground reality, the dealers were feeling the heat. The inventories were high, there was no demand, no inquiry. We were trying for the past 6 months during that time with CAM, which is the automobile manufacturing body, and the manufacturers to actually give the right picture on the ground, which wasn't happening because they have one more motto, which is share market, funds and all that, where their SOPs and all things are linked. So finally, we had to push in and come up with a target, with a data which you suggested, and I'm happy it is helping you out because we launched it for our purpose, to give the right image to the government, to right image to the market, that everything what manufacturer says is not right. There are some underlining around it. Slowly and steadily, that data has become a real big gold mine for platforms like you and for us also, because there are a lot of dealers getting involved, and it's just not data that we download from Vahan and share it with you. There are a lot of surveys which we do with our dealer principals every month. So it starts from 1st to 5th. So that is why we delay our data, because it takes those survey down where we check how the sentiments on the ground, how is the liquidity position on the ground, how is the booking position, inquiry position. These are the things which can't be collated as a data. It has to be a dealer's view on how he is facing. So will this month be better than the last month or not? And if it is, then what are the reasons? So we collate all those data and then come up with a this press release which comes to you. And we are lucky enough that with this press release, the manufacturer's body has also started giving the actual picture in the market.
Okay.
And things are more now streamlined because a lot of analysts, a lot of people are now following our data and question our two manufacturers about our data. Whenever their investor calls us, they are already in. So now they have to prepare for on base of our data also, which means at time they have to be genuine to people that what is actually on the ground happening. It happened. We saw the cars coming back, but not the two-wheelers.
Yeah.
So if you want to know how the urban people are moving, the cars is one place to know. If you want to know how the economy on the commercial side is going, the commercial and the other buses things are. But rural we need two-wheeler and tractors to understand how the things are going.
Yes.
So that's how we dissect how Indian economy is going, and I feel you are all must be doing the similar way of things. So starting with two-wheeler, I feel we are having a very good run as of now. January onwards, we have started seeing the tandem what we missed from COVID. No doubt it's too late because in the passenger vehicle segment, we saw the jump in 6 to 8 months, but in two-wheeler, it has taken 2 years to come back. Obviously, the COVID effect on rural were more than the urban. But yeah, I'll say the COVID effect on urban was on the positive side because people started spending more. People started making their own life better. The youngsters which were thinking about why to invest on property or cars, they have started investing them. So if you start investing means you are helping the economy more and growing more. So even if they had those purchase ability, but they were spending on the other entertainment things, travel, and not on the assets part of it, which has now benefited us. But on the rural side, the effect has been major because all those savings were wiped off, and it took for time for them to first get these savings back, second have the confidence back because every quarter there was something happening because of that the rural confidence was shaking. And it's difficult for a rural person's confidence to come back unless and until 1 year is normal because his risk-taking appetite is not as good as urban. So coming back, two-wheeler is doing good, and we hope that it will continue doing good. No doubt the manufacturing body is thinking about a bit conservative figure, but we think it should be a double-digit growth and a good double-digit growth. Passenger vehicle is, I feel, at the best of its position today. Last year saw a great run. So there is an expectation that the base is too big. What overall expectation is that the figure would be 0 to 5% from the manufacturing body, but seeing on the ground reality and seeing the launches which are going further, we think it should be somewhere high single digit. It can reach double digit also if all the things go well as we foresee today. But even if it doesn't reach a double digit, it's high single digit what we see. On the commercial vehicle front, it's stable. So I don't expect a negative, but I don't expect a big positive also. No doubt with this government coming in and expectation of infrastructure boom coming back, it will help commercial vehicle a lot. But there are a lot of other places where the commercial vehicle is seeing headwinds. One is railways basically becoming the biggest competitor now. People are shifting for freight to railways. Even our car manufacturers are shifting to railways. And with the freight corridor coming in and the railways working like a private institution, not as a government institution, it always had a problem of last mile connectivity or the first mile connectivity. So overall, if I talk, the auto industry is on a positive mode. And because two-wheeler is now 70% of the registration, more than 70%. And if two-wheeler is growing double digits, so obviously there will be a big growth in total auto industry as a whole in this financial also.
And more to what you said, that two-wheeler we will be expecting say 10% and four-wheeler near about high single digit. As a market participant, what we follow is three layer. One is the core volume growth which comes to us. then there is inflation for which we get the price increase in revenue and everything. And then there is a tendency of upscaling. Say whenever a person will be buying the second car or the third car, he would be upscaling. He will move from a hatchback to SUV or something like similar. So that gives us a confidence that we on a 10% volume growth, we can forecast 15% in terms of value or revenue. And even for market participant, what is happening is the metal prices have considerably come down. So it helps in terms of margin and everything.
See, I'll tell you on this point, Mahindra has just announced they are now number one in revenue share, obviously. And why has this happened? Because they were selling majorly products below 15 lakhs. So the average price was 10 to 11 lakhs. Today, now they are majorly selling vehicles above 15 lakhs.
When you are talking 10-15, you are talking about the consumer price, the final retail level.
I'm talking on ex-showroom price, not the transaction price, because transaction price includes the registration, taxation, insurance, and all those things. So for Mahindra, it's actually what the consumer pays as ex-showroom. Obviously, it includes GST also. So when the data comes to you, it's without GST, because balance sheet GST is not. So you can think another 49% added to the base is what Mahindra is doing actually. So because all those products are SUVs, so it comes under 28% GST and some 22% cess, 21 or 22% cess. So that comes to around 48 to 50%, which is huge. And as an average now, their ticket size is around 16-17 lakhs. So from 10-11 to 16-17, even if they sell the same number of vehicles, you can see how much increase they are seeing from your side of you, not from our side. Our side happens with the volume, but your side happens with the value, so you must have seen that. And what has changed post-COVID is, I'll say, not post-COVID, the start had been Kia launch. So if you remember when Kia came up with Seltos, that was the first product in India which came up from 9 to 16 lakhs, 26 odd models with such heavy features. So that was the first product in India which came with feature-rich car and really spoiled Indians that you can expect a car to have so many features in the car. Before that, for us, AC was also a luxury. If I talk 15 years back, slowly and steadily AC became normal. Then a good music system was a luxury, and then slowly things improved.
Then having the control panel on your steering is
all buttons and all that automatic things became a luxury. But with Seltos, things changed, and Kia was a huge success as they launched. Even Kia didn't expect that they'll be such a big success, because I know some dealers where when Kia had initially proposed to them for a dealership, they had thought that you'll sell 50 vehicles from a setup. Whereas as Kia was launched, within 6 months, that average came up to 100. So even Kia or our dealership team wasn't prepared that will be a success. And their trial of Seltos actually changed the total industry. Every other OEM was pushed towards that to have good features in the car. And that has increased also the value of the car. It's not just a normal price increase. So normal price increase happens 4 times in a year. Normally, the price increase is around 2 to 3% or 4%, max 5% if there is something big happening, something big happening, or else it's 2 to 3% happening for a quarter, a quarter, and then all put together 6 to 8%. And in a duration, in a life cycle of that product, normally when 2-3 years go by, then the schemes come in and the price actually is increased, but the customer price decreases.
Final price, you get some discount.
Because that's a cycle. A product launch goes up, then slowly and steadily comes down. Again, an upgrade is launched, it goes up. So that's how our cycle works. But this is the fact that even going further, you will find products being launched at a very competitive price, but being sold at a very high price. Because those competitive price will be there to excite you to come to a showroom and see a product, or incite your interest that even if you're not thinking of buying a car.
So you're saying the base price would be low, but the actual which you will buy would be significant.
Will always be great, always be. So what happened with all the products, Check, Creta, Seltos, XUV700 is a big hit point. The price starting was 12-ish something, but vehicles which were selling highest was 19 or 20. The major range came from that. Whereas if I talk about 5 years back, the average was 50% base plus one, and 50% top model and top minus one.
This is like mall gives an advertisement that this cheap, this much value for money item is available.
Yes. So going further, even if I say that two-wheeler is growing maybe 15 to 20%, for you it would be actually 35% because
Okay.
the price increase will be there. There will be product upgradation happening, new features coming in also two-wheelers, and that will make a difference. Similarly in cars also. So like, as per me, there are a lot of electric vehicles coming by this year end.
Okay.
And most of them I am expecting is 20 lakh plus.
Okay.
Very less you'll see 15 lakh minus because Tata is the leader there. And launching a 15 lakh minus vehicle means you have to be a mass producer for electric vehicle, which is as of now looks
Difficult.
tough, but maybe 1 year later it can be. So you'll see all the electric vehicles coming at a higher price, and with the kind of pressure from the government on and the environment issues, we'll see those numbers coming in. So obviously that will also jack up the average price. So that will also add to you. And practically I'll tell you, 2020 before we used to talk about on an average car price was 6 to 8 lakhs.
Yeah, we moved from
Yeah,
the
we
entry
now
level
is 12 to
hatch
15. Yeah.
to higher
So even today Maruti is regularly talking about entry level will come back. But I feel somewhere the levels will have to be redefined. So the entry level which was 2 to 5 lakh now will become 6 to 8 lakhs.
Yeah,
So
their-
till the
their
time they
highest
work it 2 to 5 lakh is entry level. That's a problem because overall in India GDP is growing, per person's earnings are growing. You can't talk entry level what we talked about 10 years back with the kind of security or safety
Features which is
features and all
compulsory.
that. And
Yeah.
so
So yeah, we all few more points to add what you said. Say we also as an analyst investor we are more focused on ERD companies. The reason is say infotainment and extra feature which say 15 years back used to be 4-5-3% of the value of the car is now 15% and expected to go 25-30. So one point is that. The other thing what you mentioned about the change of the entry level car. Say for Maruti, the highest selling model, if I remember well, 7-8 years back used to be Alto and Wagoner. Now that thing has moved to Baleno and Swift
today
and
Swift.
Desire.
Yeah.
So that itself shift the ticket price maybe 50-60% higher. And as aspiration grows, as you mentioned that might be 70-80% of India's volume. One thing which always comes to my mind is we saw the peak of two-wheeler in 2017-16. I guess towards the last pay commission. Normally India discretionary consumption is at peak during the pay commission cycle. So 16-17 and if I remember well, we hit somewhere around 2 crore mark for two-wheeler and now we are hovering about 1.5-1.6 crore. Do you believe we can go back to that 2 crore mark near term or that 10%?
I'm 100% sure we will.
We will.
We will.
And
see, this year will be a very good number. So May was, if I'm not wrong, was some 15 lakh two-wheelers, if I'm not wrong.
okay.
So if obviously June, July will be a down because this is not a great period for two-wheelers. So in another 1 or 2 years, see, two-wheeler, there were two different issues. One was that electric vehicle being forced upon them. So I don't know if you remember that Niti Aayog meeting where Rajiv Bajaj stormed out saying, "I'll not make a two-wheeler, electric vehicle two-wheeler."
He was
seven-
at initial
7,
stage he
8
was
years.
very against.
Yeah,
electric.
very against.
Yeah.
And the way it all happened was not in the right spirit,
Okay.
which has created a problem for two-wheeler industry all the world. So even today, if you see with the big four legacy players, except TVS, the others are only just showing off. They are not actually selling. Talk about Hero, they sell what 5 lakhs to 8 lakhs Hero products, and how many electric vehicle do they sell? Talk of Bajaj, they do around 3 lakh plus. How many Chetak they are doing? Petty 5, 7, 8,000, 10,000.
iQube is selling well. TVS iQube is selling.
That's it. Leave apart TVS. So what TVS did very, I'll say in a right mind was they didn't differentiate the bike from ICE.
Okay.
Why I'm saying this because the dealers who are selling TVS two-wheelers are the same which are selling iQube.
Okay. So distribution network remains the same for
Distribution
TVS.
network remains the same. So they didn't have to set up a setup. So it takes time finding a dealer, even if he's the old dealer, finding a new location, putting in things, getting new manpower, and then getting inquiries there to sell. So they did it very in a real good way that the old dealers were selling. And now they've got those numbers. They are doing some 12 to 15,000 per month. So that is why I said leave apart TVS. But even then, TVS is doing what, 3 lakhs, but 15,000. The ratio is too bad.
Yeah.
But still they are the best between
the other.
So it's like that.
Yeah.
So you talk about Hero, Yamaha is nowhere in EV, HMSI nowhere in EV. They are also just talks coming from them ki next year, next year, next year.
Okay.
I don't know when that next year come. Hero is happy investing in Ather and using that as their
Actually, we track more Ather volume than VIDA volume for EV.
Yeah. And Bajaj is now slowly coming into ground ki nahi, they have to sell Chetak. So putting in effort, but still it is 7,000-8,000. So the problem is in the two-wheelers, pre-COVID, the electric vehicle confusion created a bigger problem.
Okay.
And then COVID added to that problem.
And then the economic cycle of the poors,
yes.
They are taking
so time. Even today, I'm expecting that slowly month by month, we'll see electric vehicle growing. ICE is stagnant or will grow by 2, 5, 10% around.
Okay.
Not more growth.
Incremental volume growth will come
from electric vehicle.
Okay.
And it will be beneficial if these three players also seriously put their foot forward.
Actually, two points from what you mentioned. One thing we discuss about the participation. What we feel is India's unutilized force is the women participation, and as that is increasing, that adds to another layer in two-wheeler. That also reflection in the scooter shares going up continuously. Yeah. Scooter was about 16-17%, now 25%. One thesis we follow is as women participation increase, it increases the spending power within the family and the consumption happens. That will get reflected, I guess, as you pointed out, in the scooter sales also. Another thing, interesting point I would like to bring is, say we talk about India median age being about 28. That's the sweet spot for consumption of two-wheeler. Yeah. And how you think we will move as we progress in next 10, not 10 years, but about 15 years, we will be 35 plus as a median age. So that would be the time when we will move from two-wheeler to and by that time I believe we will be more affluent as well. So you will have more focus on four-wheeler. Till that time, two-wheeler will rule the Indian market.
See, normally it's easiest to see how abroad West is doing. That's the easiest way out.
I think we should compare ourselves with Southeast Asian countries rather than US and UK.
No. I feel not right comparison. We are not going towards Southeast, we are going towards West. What I see, because Southeast is obviously a two-wheeler market.
Yes, like us.
Like us. But like you said, 10-15 years when 28 will become 35 or 40, obviously we'll see more cars being sold than two-wheelers. The growth rate in cars will be better than two-wheelers, obviously. That will happen. And the way things are today going, I was just talking to a very senior person yesterday. He said the second biggest investment is a car or a two-wheeler. When I said it is first, he said, how? You have a family of 5. How many houses will you buy? He said 1. And you will only buy it. Not your wife, not your kid, not your bahu, not your grandson. But they'll all buy cars.
Yeah.
So a family buys only one house, and one house suffices a family. Unless and until they become too big and then they want another. But cars or two-wheeler will be bought by everybody and at least 2 to 5 times in their lifetime. So as per me, vehicles are the most important purchase anybody in his life can do.
Yeah. Apart from Bombay.
So that way the future is secure.
Yeah.
We'll see more people joining the age where they have purchasing power more. We'll see more people joining the time when their money in hand will increase exponentially.
Okay.
So it and plus this is that Gen Z or Gen X, whatever you want to call, who is not very saving friendly. They want to enjoy their life and then think about saving. No doubt, COVID has taught them कि एक mediclaim policy must have. But still, it hasn't taught us them कि भाई एक FD भी also must have. They think it's criminal to put money in FD. What is 6-7%? They don't talk. They put it in all those funds or equity and all that, and so they are risk savvy. So they do it. So I'm confident that as we have this age growing up, we'll see more purchases happening. The numbers will grow. I'm not sure what. People are expecting that will be 2030 will be what 6 billions in car. It looks like that we'll be able to achieve that number. The way things are going, but there is one caution here because the environment, the talk of different fuel and all those things, and how Indian manufacturers will be able to adapt it, and how Indian customers will be able to adapt it. That may be a reason, or else we are on the way where 2030 we will easily go 6 million cars and growing
from about 4
million last. So that's a good CAGR of, I don't know, 7 or 6%.
And again, this will be the volume one. We will add up the value growth and price growth, everything.
That's
on top
another cherry on top for you.
Yeah.
So and frankly, in the initial phases, you'll see two-wheelers also growing. Then obviously the 2-3 years, 4-5 years, so 28 to maybe when average age comes to 32 or 35, we'll see a major two-wheeler growth and then shift to a car
towards
growth.
Four-wheeler. Okay, understood. Another thing, like when we were talking about the high price thing, one thing we observe is India may say in a car segment there is ample volume of the car which goes at 40-50 lakhs if you visit urban pocket. So there is, if I put say 100 four-wheeler running, then there's 5-7 or maybe 10 also. In two-wheeler the psyche is a bit different. I don't see that 10% volume on even in urban posh pocket who is driving Harley or who is driving that 4-5 lakh super bikes. That percentage may not be even 1%. So what's your take that?
Yeah, I feel two-wheeler is not a urban product.
Okay.
Practically. So one point of clarification, premium bikes are not at 4 lakhs today.
Maybe 8-10 lakhs, I don't know.
Starts at 10. So if you talk of premium, where you are talking, so if you talk of Delhi, Bombay, for them a bike starts at maybe 20. So all those Triumphs and Ducatis are now 25, 30 and all that.
Okay.
And these are weekend bikes. It's not a daily commuter.
You can't commute.
So even in urban, the bikes which are sold are 100cc and 110cc, people who are moving around for jobs. Because urban people, you can say the high middle class or middle high class people, even if they go on a bike, it's not their daily commute. Daily commute is a car. Because it's tough to go on a bike in such dense cities like Delhi, Bombay or Bangalore. They all move on cars. But everybody has a bike, which is there as a weekend, Saturday, Sunday thing. Like I'll give you a very easy example. Mahindra sells Thar. And it's a good product as of now, selling regularly 6,000. But maybe those 6,000 vehicles you won't see on the road daily. Why? Because that's also a weekend product. So whenever Saturday, Sunday, I have to drive. Because balance days I have to be a chauffeur-driven vehicle. But when I have to drive, I'll drive a Thar. Or if I have to drive somewhere out, I'll drive a Thar. Me and my wife only. We two going out. That's it. So the premium bikes are also of that segment because that's the niche which is different. That's not for commuting. That's an additional thing to have. So when you talk of two-wheelers in any urban place or even a posh locality, maybe in a semi-town there'll be different areas. There'll be one area which will be the best people living there. You'll find the two-wheelers is only for show-off for them. So even if they have a bullet, maybe they are not using every day. They'll be using it for fun and evenings and all those things. For day commute, they have a car. So that's how things are.
Understood. And one thing I would like to know from you is, since we are associated with dealership and everything, how say in West they are exploring the direct dealership, direct sales model. I don't think India only the Ola has tried, or maybe there are a few more players. How you think this can change the dynamics within industry trying direct sales model?
It's very clear.
Huh.
We have Amazon also.
Huh.
We have a Kirana store also.
Yeah, both
And
survive.
both are surviving.
Both do well.
Regular growth is happening.
Yeah.
Even Kirana stores are not able to handle the rush, and even Amazon is not able to handle the rush. It's things like that. We are regularly growing at 5 to 7%.
Hmm.
Even if things change, the dealerships will still be there. India has a very peculiar nature of different demography, different geography, different dialect, different religions, different speaking language. Very difficult to get on one platform. So, not only Ola, even Mercedes has changed their concept of
Yeah,
selling.
the inventory thing has changed.
Yeah. So it is, it's actually direct to customer.
Okay.
It's not just inventory. If you buy a Mercedes, Mercedes will bill it to you directly.
Not the dealers.
Not the dealer. But
Okay.
yes, the dealer is involved. He'll deliver you the vehicle. He'll support you in registration, insurance, and all your service things also. So the workshop and showroom is in control of the dealer. But all the other transactions are controlled of Mercedes. So you will be transferring money to the Mercedes account, not the dealer account if you buy a vehicle.
Okay.
So that's one thing what is happening here. And the other thing is like direct to customer, which is Ola is happening here. Ola is a very not a great example to talk about auto, because normally I normally say whenever I meet people like you that people who are selling air or talking about something future, the share market goes boom. And the people who are actually making something and manufacturing and delivering it to a customer, their share prices don't shoot like that.
We like narratives.
I didn't want to use, but Ola is like that.
Okay.
It's not actually how a manufacturing company should work. They're still working on a different tangent, and the kind of losses they are still going through by selling such a small vehicle volume, I don't know how they want to survive. Why direct to customer is not a very good thing in India is, one is the reach what dealerships have. So as of today, we have some 26,500 dealers all India. Replacing them with their own setups, very difficult. As of today, we are carrying some 6 lakh cars in inventory. And if you talk about 15 lakh or 12 lakh average, you can understand how many thousand of crores inventory the OEMs will have to keep. Today they are
sitting on the
enjoying
balance
our
sheet
money.
of
they are enjoying our money. They have cash in their balance sheet which they are not using. We give them advance, and as per their wish, we get the vehicles.
Yeah.
So it's pure cash and carry. There are credit, but it's pure cash and carry how we go. So it's very difficult for Indian community to shift to direct to customers. It can on some specific things, like maybe a company thinks of electric vehicle to be done direct, can be done. Maybe a company launches a product where you can configure it and wait for that product to come in.
Customized one.
That can be possible. But for a mass product, it doesn't seem possible, but nobody has seen future. And even if we compare today with West, except Ford, which they have launched EV, or Tesla, nobody is still shifted to direct to customer model. It's very difficult because a dealer put in a lot of things. It's not just money, it's the local information, the local relationship with the customer, what he puts in. So if he is not there, how will you have that relationship? Because see, whenever a city grows, a manufacturer does appoint another dealer. Grows further, appoint another dealer.
Yeah.
Why is not possible that one dealer opens another showroom and sell it? Because as per manufacturer, appoint another dealer, you get 200 people working for that dealership. 200 into at least 10 friends or relative means you are getting a captive audience of 2000.
Also, the balance sheet of new guy is important.
So that's how things work. In India, still, this is all important.
Yeah.
Even if you are selling a not so good product which is not very acceptable in the market, but if I am related to you, I'll come to you on your face value, I'll buy that product. So there have been this history where most all the OEMs have gone through some bad phase where the products weren't good or the design wasn't good or a problem, but they still sold those vehicles. So that was the relationship what the sales team or the dealerships had in the market.
Understood.
So it's very difficult to shift 100%, but
Some
you
share
don't
might be
know. Some shift may happen. I normally give this example. I have a Faridabad dealership and we are into an industrial zone. So the first 45 days of COVID, it was 100% lockdown. But closer to the 45 days ending, the commercial vehicle workshops were asked to open because the essential vehicles needed, the doctors needed their support. So us being in the industrial, Mahindra asked you should open it. And I still remember when 45 days 100% lockdown was over, but the lockdown was still there, we had still 5 to 6 walk-ins every day in
Okay.
COVID.
Okay.
And people used to say, यार क्या करेंगे घर पे चाय पिला दो आ रहे. And we used to talk, no tea, no water, nothing. घर से पानी लाओ, घर से जो खाना लेके आओ, यहाँ पे मत करो. And we were talking all that shit. So we had to push in towards disposable things, not asking customers to make their own tea to drink. Give them a pouch and hot water, please, so that touch thing in COVID doesn't. But we were regularly having those walk-ins even in COVID times when government said that shut down everything. So this is India. Customer wants to meet somebody, wants to feel the vehicle, wants to smell the vehicle to buy. Think of it, how will you buy a vehicle of 20 lakhs which you haven't even got into it? Maybe you have test drove a vehicle. और आजकल जिस तरह की changes है, yesterday I got a complaint. I test drove this vehicle, this had this features. When I bought a vehicle, it doesn't have that features. So there has been some value engineering. It's within 3 months.
Okay.
There had been some value engineering, which he didn't like. Whereas as per company, it was better, but he didn't like. So how can you think the customer will be satisfied with such a thing?
Understood. But one more question before we move to the four-wheeler segment. As we are approaching towards budget, one thing is we always, that's my personal belief also, that entry-level bike, I guess we are taxing at 28%. So this is the poor man vehicle. And I guess everyone should lobby for bringing it down to 18% or something like that. How you think engagement with the government works? They give so much incentive for EV, but this is a poor man bike. It should be taxed at a lower rate.
See, I'll tell you a different story here.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that what you are saying is not right. It's actually right. It's a poor man's product and you need to come down for entry level cars and entry level bikes also.
Yeah.
But when GST was formed, the process was actually collating all the taxes a manufacturer is paying, a seller is paying, and coming up with one GST. So we were paying SUNVAT, which was excise duty, we were paying CST, and then we were paying VAT. All put together came to 28%.
Okay.
So practically it had the similar taxes what it was before.
Okay.
So they didn't increase the tax. But I'll say they decreased by, averaging it out, they decreased by 1 or 2% because it came some 29% or something like that.
Okay.
Because VAT was 12 to 14%. 12% was 12 to 14% was excise duty. 2% was CST, which when they billed to us, they got it. So all put together, when you total, it was more than 28. That's a story what whenever we go to government, we get that. And it's a fact.
Yeah, it was high, it remains high, but this...
Yeah, you calculate any taxes which has come into GST and come back to the calculation before, you will find there has been a reduction. Very small reduction, but there has been.
Okay.
Now things were going all good. When the sale went bad, we started talking about GST. And why we started talking about GST? Because in 2008, when we saw the market tumble like this, the then Congress government helped us by reducing the excise duty for some time.
Okay.
And that helped us
and
to
that was
regain
only for two-wheeler or entire segment?
Entire segment, entire
Okay.
segment.
Okay.
So that regained the market. That 2008-10 was a very, very bad period for auto. It regained the market and then I don't remember if they took it back or whatever, but
Okay.
market was back with that. And everybody is expecting that this government should also do that.
Hmm.
So, but on the other hand, except for some period of COVID, auto industry is growing.
Hmm.
The overall GST being received by auto is phenomenal. No doubt it's because of the price increase, it's because of the car selling more than two-wheeler. For them,
Yeah,
there is no
absolutely.
red tingle coming from the auto industry. Because
Understood.
their looking is not volume,
There is
their
all.
looking is value.
Hmm.
Similarly, like you, they look at value, how many crores or how many, what's the exchequer they're getting from them, and that is increasing day by day.
Hmm.
So, unless and until that affects, it won't hurt them.
Okay.
Unless and until it won't hurt them, they'll not go down.
So your message is don't go forecast GST cut
I
for
don't
two
expect
wheeler.
that to happen. I don't
Ah.
expect that to happen.
Okay.
Because I don't expect our industry to go down so bad that
That
their
it forces
will
government
start
to think.
I don't think so. I
Understood.
don't think so. Because, see, the economies of scale also is in a very, very good positive thing which sets the price.
Okay. Like in your initial remark, you mentioned that we are expecting in few years that from 4 million we will be seeing something about 6 or 7 million. Just having more sense towards the penetration. We have about, if I remember well, 40 vehicles per 1,000 people. So 4%.
Lesser than that.
Lesser than that. So 3-4% penetration. But in India, the difference is like in West, we don't put vehicle per person, it is more vehicle per family. So instead of looking at that 3-4%, I guess we should look at 15-20%. So how you see that this, even if we take 3%, 4% as a benchmark, within few years gravitating towards that 6-7 million mark annually, what are the factors which will lead to this kind of growth? What's your view there?
You see, things are changing.
Huh.
So, if I remember when I was born, there were two vehicles. One was going to office and one when we have to go to party or marriages and all. That came out. Slowly and steadily now, in a family of 15, we have 18 vehicles. So everybody needs one vehicle because everybody is driving on its own. Nobody wants ki chalo carpool kar le because you have to go that side, I have to go that side. 15 years back we had only one office. Now we have so many locations, I can't expect anybody to do a carpool and waste their time because now time is more important.
Yeah.
So nobody can think ki chalo I'll drop you there and then go there. It's not practically possible today. It was possible 10 years back, not today. The distances are more, the traffic is more and time takes more. And nobody expected to buy more cars. So, दो car है तो okay, we have to. Why do you want more? Whenever you want, you take this, I'll take that. It happened like that. Today, a person as reaches 18, he wants another, I'm not saying car, but another vehicle for himself. It could be a two-wheeler or a car. And as he gets married, he wants a car. Slowly and steadily, as his kid is there, he wants another car because his tuitions, everything is happening. So things are changing. So talking about per family, I agree 10 years back was like that, but today not. I feel if you check urban, the not talking the people who are working down the line, but if you see the middle and high class, it's one per person in urban or even capital towns. It goes down as it goes to rural and
There the concept of
towns.
family car will
There's still
be there.
a family car. But I feel the family two-wheeler is also gone now. Rural obviously still ladies are not driving. So, but the number of male members in the house, you will get two-wheelers, number of two-wheelers there, which wasn't there before also. Now it is number of two-wheelers. So things will grow slowly and steadily. How our standard of living grows, or how our purchasing power grows.
Understood.
And instead of not talking per family or like 20 to 28 vehicles per vehicles we say per 1,000, this will improve. This will not go to 800, 900 like some countries. It would never. But I'm confident it could easily go to 80 or 100 in another 2 to 5 years because average age is young, they are coming up. Most of them will be getting jobs, they'll need one vehicle. Most of them So normally what we say, car buyers are more so as of today in 25 to 35 years of bracket. And that is the bracket where major India is. So as they go up and get more jobs or are into job 1 or 2 years down the line, they will buy a car. So I feel for another 5-7 years the growth is not a problem.
Okay.
From anywhere. So there are lot of logic. One is this logic like per thousand cars are less. The other logic is our Indian mentality is changing. A joint family is a thing of a past. There are very less joint families left. Unique families are coming, independent, so they need more cars. So if it is a family of 10 or 12, you can still share. But if it's a family of 2 or 3, you can't share because then you need individual cars of that. So things are changing slowly and steadily, and overall everything, the way market is going, the way economy is going, the way GDP is growing, the things are, India is becoming manufacturing hub. Future service industry is also poised to be a growth. I'm confident the growth will come.
Understood.
Organic, normal growth will come. Nobody has to do anything.
It's autopilot mode.
Yeah, it's today as it is in an autopilot.
Tell me one thing. Say when we talk about the urban and the rural pocket, the kind of traffic and density we see in the urban pocket, how it, or maybe other point can be that we will keep car to take it out on the weekend. Maybe urban pocket, some portion of public because of traffic and everything will use the public transport. How you see the segment of growth? Because there is a limitation. Urban is actually the capital cities. They are very congested. Do you see that impacting the sales of four-wheeler, or it's okay, it's accepted that this much time will be taken in traffic?
See, unless and until government restrictions come, nothing will change. If government restricts that you can't buy a vehicle in Bombay, that's a problem.
Okay. That will not come.
I hope not. It shouldn't.
One more thing, we don't discuss this point very often now, is there was a time when we used to believe that say Japanese automaker or the Korean automaker, once they becomes very aggressive in the Indian market, the hold with say Indian automaker, be it Maruti or be it Mahindra, will loosen a bit. But that discussion nowadays, I think we don't think about that much. That
see what has changed with Modi ji's statement of make in India and then made for global in India type something, is where these Japanese or all the people are supporting. So still there are a lot of Indian customers who still think only Tata Mahindra is an Indian product still, whereas Maruti has been ages in India. So talking about Hyundai is now what, 18-20 years.
Yeah, something about we read in the DRHP, 18 years.
18 years. So 18 years is a huge time when you have done such a big numbers. And with an IPO 100%, it will become an Indian company. You can't say that it's not Indian. But still, in back of the mind, there are that feelers that Tata Mahindra is an Indian company. But why it is not being in the media circle or in the discussion circle is basically because the dialect is changed that it is make in India.
Rather than the ownership, the manufacturing is
the
concentrated.
Manufacturing is there. And as of today, the more pressure is how can we be the manufacturing hub of the world? How can India become? So, as government, as media, as everywhere, I'll say the dialect is changing towards that. And Indian government is happy if you are making in India and even not selling in India and exporting everything. They are okay with that. So when they were talking about Tesla, they were okay with that. And you come in, manufacture and then sell anywhere. I don't bother India. But you have to manufacture in India if you want some support from us. So I feel they are on the right track because our manufacturing GDP was around 45-48% way back. Must be still, I don't know what's the latest number, but if we want to take the GDP to a greater height, manufacturing also has to support that way. So unless and until there are major players coming in, so when this Tesla topic was coming or the EV topic was coming, my simple take was what Apple has done for the mobile industry in India, maybe Tesla will do it for India.
Okay.
I'm not expecting Tesla to come and sell huge numbers. They won't.
Hmm.
They can't actually. But if a Tesla factory is set up and because of them there are 4 or 5 players who maybe they come from abroad or the Indian component makers upgrade themselves to a level where Tesla product can use them, it will affect the overall EV industry,
Understood.
not only Tesla. So that's how I'm looking at it.
Okay. And one more thing is that when we talk about, say, a two-wheeler, the portion which goes as export, say Bajaj is market leader in maybe 12 countries outside India, but that kind level of export thrust is not there for four-wheeler. That can change in the next 5-10 years as our quality and becomes more acceptable in the overseas market.
So that's where Japanese, Korean come in. So practically Indian manufacturers are only two, Tata and Mahindra. Whatever they export goes out from India. For all other manufacturers, they have factory all over abroad. So their export happens only if a product is designed in India for India and can be sold somewhere outside.
Okay.
So like if you remember, Ford EcoSport was a product like that. EcoSport was designed for India. And then there were buyers all across. So they used to export. Even when Ford wasn't retailing, they were making EcoSport in their factory. Till the time that BS4 was there. When India shifted from BS4 to BS6, EcoSport has to close and obviously Ford has to shut down because of that.
Okay.
So if I talk about Hyundai, they have maybe 5 or 8 factories all across world. So they are normally using export hubs there for that. So that is where the difference is. But the way now Indian government is supporting export, so even Maruti is doing export, which wasn't never a case. Suzuki did whatever they did from their own Japanese factory. But today now Indian, it's not Maruti, it's actually Suzuki now.
Yeah.
So they are exporting from here also. Even Hyundai is doing something. Kia is doing also, but the numbers are very less. So like Kia does some 21,500 vehicles per month manufacturing, and local Indian market is 18 and a half. So 2-3,000 they are exporting.
Okay.
But it's not huge. What I feel, and one thing you should consider here, talking of export, is we were in BS4 range when world was on BS6.
Okay.
Today we are BS6 and world is BS6 or BS6 plus, which is not a major difference. So we don't have to have a separate line for exports. Maybe a separate line that we are right hand drive or left hand drive or what do we want, or somewhere some safety norms are there, but it's not a major difference. Talking of a different vehicle or talking of one aggregate different is a different thing. Easier thing to do. So now people are thinking of export. But
Understood.
going further, Indian market is growing. Like Mahindra is growing, and Mahindra is setting up a factory somewhere in US. I feel done something, planning something, doing something. Their own production today is a challenge in India. From what 28 to 42 they have reached. They want to reach 49 and then do 54, and this is all for domestic. So unless and until they have an extra capacity
To export.
how will they think of export? And as of today, both the Indian companies are with the best of their health. Even Tata has grown exponentially, and Mahindra also. So if Mahindra is able to really touch 50,000 per month, that will be something outstanding. Thinking of where the major product coming at 16 lakh plus.
Okay.
Not talking of some 8 to 10 lakh vehicles.
Great, sir. We'll move to the CV segment, and since CV is a smaller compared to, as you mentioned in the earlier part, the most important thing which we touch on your opening statement was, we also think, is how much a shift can happen. In our previous engagement also, I was asking you the same thing, that road to rail which we are thinking, which will bring the logistic cost down in our country and bring our manufacturing more competitive. How much it can be as a case which hurt CV, and I understand your view is, since the pie is growing, everyone will be benefited. But still, if you can give a deeper insight among
You
this.
haven't touched about the waterways also. That's another thing which is coming.
Uh,
That's another thing. So
okay.
recently they have announced from Allahabad. I'm from Allahabad. So Allahabad to Calcutta they have announced freight
Okay.
waterways planning something. So
And waterways always is more cheaper than railways.
obviously,
So
obviously.
how you think that the road transport, uh, be it right now because multimodal is a difficulty on the rail and maybe on waterways also, how it will pan out that road and CV will continue to grow?
See, CV will always be on growth,
Hmm.
but you will not see exponential growth coming
Hmm.
because the easier pie will be taken by railways and maybe water whenever it properly starts. So, like railway could make a difference because now they have come up with a freight corridor.
Hmm.
With the current tracks where passenger trains were moving, they couldn't do any change because it took them a day's journey in 5 days because all the racks were sidelined for passenger vehicles.
Hmm.
With the freight corridor happening, they are seeing the benefit.
Hmm.
So the day similar thing will happen in waterways, you will see a benefit there also. But the way how today railways are working, I'm confident they'll be growing regularly by 20 to 25% average every year because they have that
Sorry, 20 to 25?
their freight
Hmm.
earnings,
Okay.
railways,
Okay.
because they have that benefit of the reach and one person talking about all India,
Hmm.
which is difficult for a road transport.
Hmm.
So you tie up with railways, and from Maharashtra, the vehicle can go all India with one single agreement and single system.
Hmm.
Obviously, like it's not that easy. So maybe the track is going to a Tata plant in Maharashtra, but it's not going to every dealer.
Hmm.
So then secondary transport is important. Initially problems were more, but slowly, steadily the problem is removed.
Hmm.
And expect that if from the industry, if you remember, it was 285 to 3 lakh per month production, which reached today at 4 lakh. No transporter can have such a capacity to increase 1 lakh vehicle transportation in India.
Hmm.
And then when there are some 7-8 locations, major locations where manufacturers are there and being transported all India. So railways supported a lot because there was a time I remember vehicle built and standing at manufacturer for 5 days, 10 days for need of the truck.
Okay.
Just after COVID when we saw the growth.
Hmm.
So railway was a boon. Even with these scratches, we used to request our OEM, please send it by train. Scratches manage कर लेंगे, customer को समझा लेंगे.
Hmm.
So that was a boon and that will happen. So I am sure railways with the kind of efficiency they are putting in, and see it's a government concern. I don't know today it is how it will be tomorrow. But the way they are going, they will improve their services more.
Understood.
And it's faster, it's more trustworthy,
Hmm.
it's better. But obviously you cannot write the road transport off.
Hmm.
The need will be there because not every manufacturer can afford to have a tie-up with railways.
Hmm.
You can't go to railways to book freight today. How much big you are unless and until you have that kind of span where you need.
As we have covered almost all the segment, and thanks for such a detailed explanation for everything. One thing I was thinking about the ethanol theme. How government is right now we are about 12-13%. So two part question, sir. One is how industry is ready in terms of because our target is about 20-25% in next 2-3 years. How industry is ready in terms of getting the vehicle. And another aspect is I want to know, we sometimes hear that the loss of mileage is about 5-7% on ethanol. Is there any scientific study done on how much, say, if I blend it by 20% on an overall level, how much the mileage reduce for a car? So any view there?
See, I feel the problem is way bigger than you are thinking.
Okay.
We are already at E10.
Hmm.
They are wanting to go to E20.
Hmm.
And the biggest problem is they are not able to go parallelly. So they are wanting to shift direct to E20, which means that any vehicle which is today on road
That also need
will
to
have
have
a
a
problem.
E20
Will have a
fuel.
problem.
Yeah.
So every 2 months you'll have to change all your gaskets, rubber things, all those things because they are not adapted to handle 20%
Ethanol.
ethanol, methanol, whatever they say. They are
Hmm.
not adapted to that. So while discussion with government is wanting to shift to 20% as fast because as of today they are planning to have 150% more production of biofuel than they need,
Hmm.
and they're wanting to export it.
Hmm.
So they're wanting to use it actually first inside also.
Hmm.
And the oil companies are not supporting to have both the fuel in the pumps. So because
Okay.
today they have petrol, today they have diesel, and they have premium.
Hmm.
Normally three types of. So if we have to have E10 and E20 both, they'll need to have one more tanker, one more dispensing unit, and it's a difficult part to do it all India.
Hmm.
Even E10 happened very late. There was a lot of places where normal was going on also.
Hmm.
And for us as a dealer will be a nightmare because if everything becomes E20, we'll get a lot of vehicles back on our head to repair things. And think of that, a product which you are one can drive 10 years, 12 years back, old vehicle, if it comes to an authorized garage, you won't find parts of it because the vehicle was when made and now discontinued. So it's a big problem what we are discussing with them that let's have parallel for some time. But oil companies are not agreeing to that, and that's a big issue what we are
Okay.
facing. Uh, Most of the companies have got their product right.
Okay.
So I'm not saying what we are selling today,
Hmm.
but they've got their product right. The day government pushes them, the fresh product will come.
The entire ecosystem, the day it's ready,
Slowly
they will
change.
launch.
But it will change for new vehicles, not
Okay.
the current vehicle. That's a major drawback what we are seeing. Mm, The average, no doubt, is 5 to 10% less, but we are expecting with E20, the fuel price will also go down by 5 to 10%.
Okay.
So the customer won't hurt on the practical sense.
Hmm.
But on the other hand, I feel average will increase because if you are following this cafe norms, all the manufacturers will be pushed towards increasing average.
Okay.
They can't move out of that.
Hmm.
So just to give you a small feeler, CAFE is an average of efficiency, emissions, what they do. And it's not per product, it's actually the full manufacturing. So if I'm making, out of my 100 bucket, I'm making 80 EVs, then I can make 20 the worst kind of product I want.
Okay.
Maybe a product which gives 1 liter per kilometer average.
Okay.
I'm allowed to because my average will be steep. So if I'm selling EVs, CNGs, I can easily sell diesels. So if I'm selling all petrol, then too I have a problem. I have to have CNG or EV to have an average CAFE norms. And as of today, most of the OEMs are in a fix.
Okay.
So CAFE norms, we already get CAFE 2, CAFE 3, CAFE 4, it will be coming in coming years. And as of today, government has not yet started penalizing OEMs. But if they start penalizing OEM, the penalty would go into thousands of crores.
Okay.
It's actually 25,000 per vehicle if for all vehicles if you are not achieving. So this the percent ऊपर हुआ तो 25,000 इतना ऊपर हुआ तो 12,000 something, and that's a huge thing.
Cost.
So on the average front, you will find efficiency improving more. And in reaching that efficiency, you will find some experience going down. So maybe there will be product which have a very good speed, pickup and all, but less of average. But most of the product which have lesser pickup, lesser speed, but a better of an average to average everything. So that will happen. But E20 is going to happen. It is time yet. Because government doesn't also have an answer how to handle the old customers, and old customers are actually their voters, majorly voters, because people keep vehicle 20 years, 30 years till the vehicle is being driven and being repaired. People are keeping it.
Understood. Yeah, interesting. Thanks, sir. Thanks for sharing your insight. It was really great session. It will be very helpful for our investors and audience.
My pleasure.
Thanks for having us. Thanks.
Investment in securities markets are subject to market risks. Read all related documents carefully before investing.